Anthony, I'm going to jump right in today because we only got a 2-hour show. We're off at 6 o'clock tonight, so we don't have time to waste. And I've been deep in thought, and this is where I get us in trouble. So you ready? You ready to buckle in fast on a Monday?
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a amusement park, and specifically I'm thinking of the Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we go 0 to 60 in point whatever seconds. I have a funny story about that, but I promised I'd get right in, and now I'm getting distracted. So, point is, we're going 0 to 60 real fast today. But I've been thinking about this because I was listening to Russell on the way in. I was listening to Grant on the way in, just kind of flipping back and forth. And we had a conversation on Take Command earlier today, which has really pushed me in a certain direction in terms of quarterback in 2024. And that direction is, I don't think Washington's going to be very good at that position in 2024, and I think it is the biggest detriment to their potential success in 2024, and that's fine. Which are statements that don't seem to go together. But the more I watch this quarterback class, the less ready I think they are to play. And I think you're going to be stuck as a franchise making a decision of, like, do we want to take a risk of playing this guy right now, or do you just want to take the heat for not playing our number 2 overall pick and starting Marcus Mariota and knowing that this era that everyone's so excited about is going to get off to a pretty mediocre start, and realize that it doesn't matter and that all that matters is long-term success, which has been the stated goal from Josh Harris from Go and from Adam Peters from Go, is long-term sustainable winning. Because I think if you play Drake May or Jaden Daniels early, you're not going to get the best out of them in the long term. I think if you play Drake May early, it's going to be really ugly. And I think if you play Jaden early, it'll be better than Drake early, but not good for his long-term development. Like, he'll go out there and run around a little bit and make some plays, but I'd rather him like learn the NFL game from the sidelines for like a year or more, and not go out and develop bad habits of learning how in the early days to escape pressure with his legs, and then once teams kind of get some more tape on him and figure it out, it goes sideways and he never develops in the long term, which is kind of the Justin Fields tale, where it's like, yeah, Justin can go out there and be okay, but has he ever really developed in the way that he needs to in the long term? No, not to be like a true like contending level quarterback. And there are rare exceptions to where it can work out. Like Josh Allen played, but generally speaking, you sit for a little while or you're good from day one. And this is really the thing that I think triggered this conversation in my head earlier. Because Austin Eckler earlier today talked about, as he met with the media for the first time as a commander, he talked about, well, I think this could be like a Houston situation. I think we can come in with a new regime and we could be really good. And I hope that Austin Eckler thinks that. Here's the problem with Austin Eckler's plan. And I don't mean to be negative. I don't mean to be sourpuss. I am definitely not, I think if people have listened to me long enough, like, I am not a pessimist. I'm actually very fond of the phrase, there is no bonus points for pessimism. But I am a realist. The reason Houston worked out last year and the way Houston worked out is because C.J. Stroud had the best rookie season, arguably in the history of the NFL for a quarterback. And if you want to look at other examples of teams that did well with rookies, 1, they are few and far between. 2, it guarantees nothing for longevity. And there is no finer example of the latter than Robert Griffin III in Washington in 2012. Spectacular rookie season, 0 longevity. That was it. That was the career in terms of the good category. Andrew Luck was decent as a rookie. He's the exception of all exceptions. And even then, his longevity was affected by health in a major way. Peyton Manning was awful as a rookie, turned out pretty good. Tom Brady, I don't think his first year, I think his first year that he played, he was his second year in the league, but even if he was a rookie that Super Bowl year, which I'm pretty sure he wasn't, he didn't have to do a whole lot. He wasn't exactly spectacular. The transition from Alex Smith to Pat Mahomes, they were still kind of a running football team in some ways early on in Kansas City, and then they continued to open it up year after year for Mahomes to the point that he's running everything now. I guess Burrow is an exception. but Burrow was 24 years old coming out of LSU and is mature beyond his years. So, like, there's certainly some exceptions to the rule, but the majority of even great NFL quarterbacks were not good in year one. And the chances of drafting someone who's going to be great in year one is like once every 5 years. And even then, that doesn't guarantee longevity. And if it's once every 5 years, sorry, CJ Stroud was the guy, and it was last year. So I guess what I'm getting at, Anthony, is I feel like the bar of expectations has been raised a little bit. And whether it's people excited about the number 2 pick in the draft or people excited about what Dan Quinn did in free agency, which, by the way, I certainly am, I don't know that I felt the need all of a sudden to do a bit of a reality check on what 2024 will be, because I felt like the people started doing while I'm not trying to be a pessimist, I'm not trying to be overly optimistic for the sake of optimism either. And I feel like that was starting to happen a little bit.
I think a lot of people, when it comes to the level of expectation for the rookie quarterbacks, at least, I think a lot of guys want to see, the guy that we take early on out there. You look at the rookie class last year, everybody was thrust into the fire. Granted, some of those situations weren't the most ideal when you look at, Carolina, for instance. But like Indianapolis, it looked ideal to an extent. Anthony Richardson just got to learn to, protect himself. CJ, of course. And who's the other rookie quarterback?
Bryce. I mean, in Carolina was
yeah.
Yikes, bro.
But I just feel like everybody's expectation is for that guy to go out there. He's going to have his bumps and bruises. And I think that's more so like where the conversation sort of is, like whether or not you want to see that guy learn on the fly or whether or not you want to have him like sit sort of kind of like Patrick Mahomes. But I think Patrick Mahomes' situation was a little bit different just because the Chiefs were already kind of winning and they already had a veteran that was there that knew the system and that he could actually, learn under. Here, we don't necessarily have that.
No, for sure. And, I'm looking up now the total stuff. Let's see if I can sort it by. Yeah, that'll help a lot. So Stroud was awesome, right? He goes 23 touchdowns, 5 picks. Just a remarkable season by every, forget rookie standard, by any standard. He had a really good year. By rookie standard, it was impossible. The next best guy in the class was probably Aiden O'Connell, who played for Vegas. He played in, 6 games, if that. 12 touchdowns, 7 picks, threw for 2,200 yards. 11 games. 12 touchdowns, 7 picks, 2,200 yards. Aiden O'Connell was okay, but Aiden O'Connell is also 25 years old. Stroud is 21. Bryce Young, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks, terrible year, only threw for 2,800 yards in 16 games. And then Will Levis, 1,800 yards in 9 games, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, wildly inconsistent. As you said, Richardson, but to me, if you're going to play a guy, Richardson's the plan, right? Richardson's package wasn't exactly big. They were going to try to use his legs and surround him with JT, and they gave him a good offensive line and a bunch of not great receivers, but solid pros as receivers around him. If you want to do that, fine. But Anthony Richardson is also a one-of-one athlete. He's literally the best athlete to ever come out and play in the quarterback position based off raw athletic score type of stuff. So I just think that people, if your hope is quarterback is awesome and Houston did it last year, people need to just accept the fact that Houston was an exception. Stroud is an exception. And here's what I would say. Does that mean that it's impossible Washington can do that this year? No. And obviously fans don't make plans, but organizations do. The organization can't plan for a miracle. You have to plan as if you're inheriting a Jordan Love type of talent, a Pat Mahomes type of talent that has to be nurtured and fostered. And if you do those things properly over time, to hell with what your present is, your future is going to be incredibly bright. And if it so happens that when training camp opens, the guy you drafted is so much better than even you realize to take them with the number 2 pick, that they're ready to go and be a contributor right now, then sweet. But I think the plan, not the hope, the plan has to be whoever we take is going to be sitting because in 2024, they're not going to be ready to play high-level NFL football. 301-230-0980 is the phone number. What do you think about the plan for QB1 in 2024? This isn't the long-term plan. This is the short-term plan. 301-230-0980. We take your calls next on The Hoffman Show.
This is The Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.